Hello, we better be ready. We are live. Hi, I'm Elisa. I am here with Alex Birkett. We're going to be starting our webinar shortly, but first, I'd like to get to know you a little bit. I really appreciated you all sending in your answers and what you want to learn today, from new SEO tactics all the way to bankrupting your competitors, which you'll learn the first one. I can't promise the second one, but but it's going to be good. So let us know, where are you calling from today? Are you too hot in Europe? Are you too cool in the Midwest? What's going on where you are?
Alex? I don't know if it's too cool anywhere. I think it's hot everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, probably.
It's I was in Europe the last 3 weeks, as we were just talking about, and then it was hot in London, which is strange. It was hot in Belgium. Today it's 105 degrees in Belgium.
Holy cow. They have no air conditioning, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's actually worrying.
Yeah, it really is.
At least like here, like every day has pretty much been 100 plus in Austin, Texas, but they have AC as long as the power grid stays on, which is like never a certainty.
True, like last year.
Yeah. And this year they're like, we might have rolling blackouts, and it's like, oh, that's confidence inducing.
I want to hear. Melissa's here. Hey, Melissa, 112 in Oklahoma. You might win. We'll see.
Insane.
You might win. Yeah, too hot in Charlotte, Wesley.
Yeah, but it's dry heat in Oklahoma. That's what they say.
It's dry heat, but you can still cook an egg on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's the funny thing they say about like Arizona. It's like, oh, it's fine, but it's dry heat. Yeah, but it's 110. Like, it doesn't matter at that level.
Not made for that yet. Jonathan, don't look up. Okay, thank you for the tip. Yeah, so okay, we have somebody here. Okay, who's freezing? It's freezing in Buenos Aires. So after this, let's all book a flight and we can meet up over there.
Well, it's winter down there.
True, that's true.
I would love to do Buenos Aires. That's on my list.
Next,
yerba mate, the wine, the Patagonia, the steak.
The steak, yes, famous for the steak. Hello from Scottsdale. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a little toasty over there. Okay.
I've been meaning to do Scottsdale too. I've heard there's some great golf courses out there.
It's quite beautiful. The hills are very nice.
Yeah.
So, getting into what we're talking about today, keep on coming with where you are, what the weather's doing for you. But we're going to talk about SEO. So, traditional SEO focuses on ranking your own website for your keywords, which, of course, vital, important. We have to do that. But when we stop there, we're leaving the majority of the spots in the SERPs for our competitors, which we do not necessarily want to do. So today we're going to talk about what share of search and surround sound SEO are. Not necessarily obvious ways to increase our share of search, and the exact process that Alex used, along with checklists, email templates that we'll share the links for shortly, that Alex used to grow his podcast share of search from 0 to 45% in just 3 months. So how can we do that? We're going to take your questions along the way. Don't hesitate to speak up. We'll pull you up on the screen, get your questions answered, and you will want to stay till the end for a chance to win a free year of Surround Sound SEO. So if we call your name, make sure that you comment. Dasha is here in the green room. She will be looking for your name, and we will get that to you. Make sure to join us on YouTube for the liveliest conversation. That's at bit.ly/YouTube-surround. And yes, the video will be available here, anywhere else it's broadcasting, and from the landing page when this ends. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Alex Birkett. He is the founder of the world-class content and SEO agency Omniscient Digital. Alex is one of the originators of the HubSpot's Surround Sound SEO framework. In fact, that's what gave us the idea for the Surround Sound product. He's joining us today from Austin, Texas, where he lives with his dog, Biscuit, who may make a cameo, who's already adding to the soundtrack. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much for the introduction. You could already hear Biscuit in the background. Every time I get on a call, a podcast, anything, he perks right up. He sleeps all day until I'm on something like this. So he's just saying hello to everybody.
Yeah, I will be highly disappointed if my orange cat doesn't jump up behind me and scare everybody.
All right. Too.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this over to you and let you get started. Again, please comment with your questions. We'll bring those up, and Alex will be more than happy to answer them for you. And hello to Biscuit from Christine.
All right, cool. So ask me some hard questions. I'm excited to answer them. So I'll share screen. And you'll let me know if my screen is being shared.
I see it. I see it. Here we go.
Nice. You can see this?
We can see it. And
nice.
We're seeing the edit mode, though. I'm not seeing the slideshow.
Now you see the slideshow?
There you go. That's perfect. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over.
All right, cool. So I'm going to talk about the surround sound strategy, something that we invented at HubSpot. I think we invented. What is truly invention? What's truly original? But I was on the freemium acquisition team and trying to discover new ways to basically carve out new channels or new strategies within our channels. HubSpot, as you know, is this inbound marketing powerhouse, inventing the methodology of inbound. We had tons and tons of blog traffic. We were doing tons of paid ads. And to get more freemium users, I started looking at the data and I found some really interesting stuff. Built out some hypotheses, some early experiments, and found the surround sound strategy, which now is a tool that Semrush built, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm not going to talk about it in this one, but I had to build some scrappy version of a tool to do what I'm going to show you in this presentation. It was awful. But the presentation today, I'm going to do about half of it talking about the theory of the surround sound strategy. So what it is, what are the high level ideas, why is it important, how it differs from traditional SEO and link building. And then we're going to do a little bit of an avant-garde part where we have some lucky, brave volunteers, and I'm going to walk through how to do the surround sound strategy step by step on that website. So let's say you are at a cocktail party, right? Post-pandemic, you're seeing some friends again. You're like, I need a new show recommendation. I actually do. I need a new show recommendation. So I ask your group of friends, what are you guys watching? What's cool right now? Let's say one friend says, you should watch Westworld. Well, that's pretty interesting. Let's say we've got this graph of maybe the amount of people recommending something and the probability I am going to check that thing out. This is our baseline graph. And let's say that one person saying you should watch Westworld registers it on my radar. It's not fully top and to the right, but it's on there. I now know about Westworld. I know one of my trusted friends advises me to watch it. So I very well might check it out. But let's say in that same group of about 10 people, let's say another person says, you should watch Westworld. It's amazing. The soundtrack is incredible. And another person says, yeah, I watch Westworld too. It's one of the best shows I've seen in recent years. And another, and another. And sooner or later, everybody in your friend group says, you should watch Westworld. Well, at that point, you're bursting at the seams. You're like, I need to check out this show. Like everybody's talking about it. This is insane. And this happens with all kinds of stuff. But in the real world, it typically looks like, maybe you've got a podcast. Maybe Joe Rogan talks about how you should read this book or watch Westworld. Maybe you've got a friend, you've got a girlfriend, something like that. Everybody's talking about it. Maybe there's some New York Times article that talks about it. And eventually this rises to the point where it's incredibly salient, you're incredibly curious, and you've got enough trusted, authoritative recommendations that you end up watching Westworld and loving it, or hating it, but probably loving it because it's a great show. And I think season 4 just dropped. So what does this have to do with consumers? What does this have to do with purchasing behavior? The question I want to answer is, how do consumers choose to make product purchase decisions? We've got some data there. So basically online, this is a fact from an old Conversion XL article. On average, consumers are going to visit 3 websites before making a purchase. The more websites a consumer visits, the more money they're likely to spend. And that's going to depend on the space too, right? Like if you're purchasing a car, that's probably going to be many more websites. And if you're purchasing a box of cereal or something like that, it's probably going to be fewer, but it's on average 3 websites. And fact number 2, this comes from Nielsen research. The frequency of messaging leads to higher levels of awareness and purchase intent. So the more you hear or see an ad, the more likely it is to be effective. And this is a little chart that goes along with that. And this is something that is basically old wisdom in advertising. You've got reach and frequency. So reach is who you basically target with your ads, what demographics, what segments, who's actually hearing it if it's on a radio ad, who's actually seeing it if it's on a billboard. And the frequency is often underrated when we think about online marketing. It's how many times, because the first time is not often to register. The second time they think about it. And the 6th time they're like, maybe I should check this out. And you can see that in that data right here at about 7, 8, 9. The purchase intent and awareness rises precipitously. So the surround sound strategy, what does that have to do with the surround sound strategy? What is the surround sound strategy? Took this from a Growth Lab article. There actually was a term called the surround sound strategy that Tim Ferriss, I think, originated. And it was around how he would go about his book launches. He would basically go on all these podcasts at the same exact time. And you see this playbook now all the time. Somebody launches a book. They do a New York Times interview. They go on Sam Harris's podcast and talk about the book. They go on every other podcast in a certain niche. And basically everybody hears about it at the same time, and it creates this surround sound effect. So the point is, the more that people hear about your product from different sources, the more likely they'll take it as something seriously, as something they need to check out. So in the SEO context, which is what we're talking about, the old goal of SEO, and let's be real, it's still a goal. The old goal is ranking your landing page for high intent keywords. So for myself, I run a content marketing agency. I've got terms like best content marketing agency, B2B content marketing agency. My goal in old SEO land is basically to rank as highly as possible. And you can see here, there's this agency in London, which is where I was a couple of weeks ago. And they're ranking number 3. So that's great. They're going to get some traffic from this. But as we've learned, people comparison shop. If they're looking for content marketing agencies, they're in the discovery stage. And there's tons of other search results, including lists and review sites, et cetera, et cetera. So the new goal, the surround sound strategy goal, is to appear on all of the SERP results, to monopolize all of the SERP results for your high intent keywords. So when somebody searches, when somebody goes to the proverbial cocktail party and asks, what's the best content marketing agency? You appear here, you appear here, you're here, and you're everywhere. So somebody says, I've got to check out Sunday, I guess. They seem to be everywhere. So one objection with surround sound strategy, one that I've heard from prospects and different places online after talking about this is, isn't this just link building? Aren't we just trying to get mentioned, links and all that stuff? Like, how is this different from typical link building? And the main point is that on these search results, on these search keywords, click-through rates actually matter. I didn't include this slide, but one thing that I've noticed about these is that the click-through rate of these search terms is actually usually higher than the volume, meaning people will click on multiple listings, which isn't always true. That's actually pretty rare. So when you're looking at search results pages, this is just aggregate data from advanced web ranking. The first result's going to get something like 30, 40% of clicks. The second is going to drastically tone down to about 10, 15%. And, you go down and down where you're at 3, 4, 5, and you're getting about, 5% click through. The important thing about this is these things accumulate. So being featured on more than one ranking page increases your share of search, your share of voice in search, and it's cumulative. So this is a chart, basically a hypothetical one from, I think Nick Eubanks wrote this article on monopolizing search results. So if you've got 2 rankings, this is your average CTR, this is your average traffic, your estimated sales. You got 3, you've got 21%, and it goes on and on. So eventually you've got like the highest possible click-through rate percentage, you've got the highest possible brand awareness, and also the highest potential referral traffic, which we'll talk about in a second. The other thing is that this owns the consideration stage. It's product discovery. When people are searching something like best live chat software, best SEO software, they probably have a couple ideas in mind. Like they probably know about Semrush, right? But maybe they're searching for new products. Maybe an underdog could come and usurp, pun intended, Semrush's place if they own this consideration stage, right? Like this is both a lagging indicator of brand awareness because, if you have a search result for best CRM software, Salesforce is probably going to be on there. But it's also a leading indicator and something you can sculpt because people are going to search this no matter what. So if you are an underdog, if you're not already at the stature of Salesforce, you can appear in all these places and sort of create the perception that you are one of the top players. So these are high intent terms. They have high difficulty. If you want to rank for them, they have sometimes high traffic as well. So they're very competitive. And if you're doing paid ads, they're typically high cost as well. So the CPCs on these are very high, meaning they're lucrative. And these are not run-of-the-mill backlinks. Essentially, these are very important keywords for your business where people are actually making the purchase decisions. And unfortunately, I can't share data. So it's a public company, HubSpot is. But when I was working on the surround sound strategy at HubSpot, we would do listicles like this that we would write on our own blog, meaning we saw all the data in terms of conversions and we saw the traffic and all that stuff, right? So this is ranking, I think first. I think we were in first or second ranking for this one. And when I would analyze it in comparison with all of our other blog posts, HubSpot's thousands, if not tens of thousands of other blog posts, this would convert at somewhere in like 3 to 5% range product users. whereas all the others would be like 0.1%. If somebody's writing about, or somebody's coming in via a term like what is content marketing, the likelihood that they're going to sign up for, content marketing software, if they're, what is a form builder, the likelihood that they're going to sign up for the product is pretty low. But at this stage, they're actually really likely to hit that sign up button. You can see the CTAs all over the page too, which indicates that high intent keyword. Furthermore, we partnered with other companies. So we were listed all over the place, but I actually partnered with a couple people, including Zuko. I think this is Email Tool Tester. We've got an affiliate program, or we had an affiliate program. I don't work at HubSpot anymore. So we could see the data in terms of referral traffic as well. And even from referral listicles, like they would convert just as highly as our own native listicles on our site. So these things were money printing machines. And the more we would actually rank, or the more we would appear on these terms, the higher the conversion rates would be. Basically implying that the more somebody sees your name, the more likely they are to purchase and trust you. So these are super lucrative things. Little case study. This is a very recent one that I'm going to actually share more data from. But I have a podcast. Everyone has a podcast. I've got a podcast. There's a ton of marketing podcasts out there. And we didn't have a lot of distribution channels. We didn't have money to put behind this. It's a crowded space. So I was thinking, how do I grow a podcast? Outside of I don't have my typical channels available to me. There's hundreds of these content marketing podcasts and very few distribution channels to actually reach new fans. So you've got a term like best content marketing podcast here. This is a good amount of search volume. How can I surround sound this? So basically, through a bunch of outreach, through writing my own listicles, you can see here on alexbirkett.com. There was also one that we wrote on beomniscient.com. We worked with HubSpot. We worked with 99 Signals. We worked with Siege. We worked with all these companies to get ourselves listed. And we got 45% visibility for the term best content marketing podcast. Our coverage was quite high as well. And even for the term content marketing podcast, we're pretty high here. So this was within a few months and really just only a few hours of effort. Like it was just a bunch of emails we sent out. We captured nearly half of the search results for these discovery keywords. And while I can't actually put causal value on this, this was around January when we started. And you can see like the numbers start to pump up, right? Like after we started ranking for these, after we started getting mentioned on all these high intent and decently high traffic listicles, podcast downloads started to spike. I want to be totally intellectually honest and say that there could be other factors, right? Like we've gotten different guests, there's different social sharing that we're doing, but it's a pretty cool correlation. And now we at least know that when those 100, 200 people are searching every month, best content marketing podcasts, we're appearing all over the place. So that was a recent example from us. Surround sound strategy, the executive summary. This could look different depending on your company. It depends on the search volume, the competitive landscape, your customers, and the buyer's journey. But what you want to do is research your buyer's journey, figure out the most important places where people are making decisions, where they're discovering new products, where they're looking for trusted, authoritative recommendations. Research that, map it out. You got to make sure you know where these people are actually making their decisions. Map out the influential touch points and find a way to appear on all of them. And obviously that's easier said than done. And I'll walk through kind of how to do that today. So enough theory. That's the surround sound strategy. Let's do a live walkthrough in 6 steps. So these 6 steps are going to be ideating keywords, auditing the SERPs and figuring out what the opportunity areas are, identifying the opportunity areas and prioritizing them, finding, I said content info, but contact info for the people that you need to reach out to, send outreach, which is often underrated and quite difficult to do, but I'll actually write some outreach emails and create new content. So oftentimes you'll have to write your own content for your website or for guest posts. And I'll show you some cool tools that we can use to make sure those rank as well. So we've got a volunteer. This is BIM track. I don't know much about this space. I'm going to be totally honest. So this is going to be a little bit of a Wild West demo here. This is a communication platform for BIM coordination. So I'm going to have to pop out of here real quick, and I'm going to use some different tools. So the first step is ideating keywords. Again, I don't know this space super well, but we did a little pre-work here. And usually what I'll do is I'll map these out on top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom funnel basis. And in this particular demonstration, I'm just going to really work on the bottom funnel. So we've got BIM software, best BIM software. And I could actually pop into Semrush here and make sure that there's keyword search volume for some of these. We want to go for the highest search volume that's also high intent at the bottom of the funnel. Let's see here. This one's got 110. That's pretty good. I'm just going to like add this to the document just so I can keep a tab on that. A duplicate. And then 3D design software. Actually go to their website too, just so we can take a look. Maybe this will help us identify some other keywords that we haven't already.
Alex, how many keywords do you like to have in your surround sound strategy? To
start, like 1, 2, or 3. Like, I think you want to get a crack on it before you really scale this out. When I was at HubSpot, we started with best form builder. It was very, very discreet. It was very like individual, and we wanted to monopolize that SERP first to make sure that it was actually worthwhile and ROI positive. But then at HubSpot, towards the end, we were mapping out like probably hundreds of keywords. But HubSpot's a weird company, right? Because HubSpot has Marketing Hub, Sales Hub, Service Hub. They've got like 20 different products within those, all with high search volume. So some point solutions aren't going to have that many keywords. And then also it depends, like I would map out like the bottom of the funnel first, because those are actually going to be ROI positive from like a direct response standpoint. And then I would like work your way up to middle of the funnel, top of the funnel. So eventually you could have a couple hundred like HubSpot does, but I would start out with just like your most critical keyword. If you sell live chat software, go for best live chat software and just try to do that one first.
Right. Yeah. I think we've seen it work really well too, where if you have those different products, you do a separate campaign for each product, because you want to see, like how overall, how do we rank? But for this one particular piece of software, or for this one pair of shoes, like how are we ranking for that one type of thing?
Totally. And that's a really good question too, because there is some like, it's not always homogenous what the conversion rates are going to be, what the ROI is going to be for a given keyword. Again, I can't share actual data here, but best form builder was such a low complexity decision, right? It's most form builders are pretty much the same. We could sign people up at high rates there, but if we did really well on best CMS software as well. But a CMS is a huge purchase decision, so we wouldn't see those like high conversion rates and like high take rates just from like being on those SERPs. It was more of a brand awareness play there. So it really depends on like the complexity of the sale and search volume and competitors and all that stuff. But yeah, it helps to attack one at a time.
Great, thanks.
Cool. I'll pop a couple more into here. I think we're just going to probably do one for a demo, but I just want to see like what the search volume is on some of these. It's a little bit higher. That's cool. That's modeling software. Modeling sounds maybe kind of generic. I don't know. There's probably a lot of different types of modeling, right? Below anyway, so we'll skip that one. Software for BIM. BIM. A lot of acronyms out there. CRM, CMS, SEO.
So many.
Damn, digital asset management. That's another one I learned. I think, yeah, I mean, I guess your target market knows this stuff, right? Like I'm not target market, so I don't know this stuff, but.
We have some great questions coming up here from Jonathan. He wants to know, are you looking at the keyword difficulty and some of those other factors?
I don't really look at keyword difficulty. Maybe this is a contrarian opinion, but I don't really look at it in general. I just kind of like look at the competition and maybe like their backlink profiles and domain ratings, which I guess is something that is probably, I don't know how Semrush calculates that. I'm sure that's how it's calculated anyway. But for the difficulty, it actually doesn't matter too much, because that's assuming like how difficult it is to rank for a page.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas it may, what you're going to do with the surround sound, right? If you've got a bunch of pages ranking, maybe one of them's G2, maybe one of them's Capterra. Like those have very particular strategies to get listed, often dealing with customer reviews and maybe pay to play. But there could be a really difficult term and all kinds of affiliate bloggers rank for it. And it's really easy to get on the radars, right? So I don't think it's as pertinent to their surround sound as it is traditional SEO and rankings. But I do look at the CPC. The higher that is, the more likely it is to be a lucrative keyword. It's not always true, because there's certain categories that are just so competitive, like CMS, that I bet best like CMS software or something like that is going to be really high CPC. Yeah, we're getting higher there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredibly difficult too. Yeah.
We have another question from Wesley. He wants to know, is all of this going to transfer over to B2B services rather than particular products?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. So it's funny you just mentioned that. So I just started doing this. This is brand new, so let's just go off the rails here. But I just started doing a new campaign for best content marketing agencies. And again, it just started, so I'm not listed on a lot of these yet, but I've got strategies to get on Clutch, which is a review site. And you can actually see right here that we rank on my website for number 2, and also on B2B content marketing agency. And basically, we're number 1 here. So what I can tell you is just this is really early results, but I've gotten several leads just in the last like week or two, and we're a services business. And these are pretty low search volume. These are probably like 100 to 200 search volume. But the people who are coming in, I don't know, I guess maybe like it's a little bit different too, because they're hiring a content agency, and it kind of shows that we know what we're doing if we can rank for these terms. True. But we're getting actual, direct response leads from these that we can attribute in HubSpot. And I can assume that it's only going to be higher once we're actually on all the review sites as well.
Yeah. And even with that low volume, right, they're ready to choose, right? They're looking to decide what content agency to hire.
This is the person that we want to reach, right? Yeah. Like we actually made this strategic trade-off where, especially in the content marketing space, and I'm guessing actually any services business is probably operating in a high competitive kind of red ocean space. The fact that there's services businesses there and can make money means there's a lot of vendors and there's a lot of demand for it, right? So like there's probably a lot of like just noise and fluff in those spaces. So in content, right? Like there's tons of like HubSpot, CoSchedule, like I can't even, like Semrush, y'all are writing about keywords that we could be writing about. So if we write about like what is content marketing, it's going to be really difficult to rank for this, first off, because it's so difficult. We've got Content Marketing Institute, Forbes, MailChimp, HubSpot, like the biggest brand names you could think of, Marketo, Neil Patel. These are like 90 plus website authority. So we probably can't rank for it. And then if you think about it in terms of like a services business, we charge like $10,000 a month. Somebody coming in on what is content marketing, or even like how to write a blog post or some more mid-funnel stuff. How long is it going to take for that person to actually like maybe sign up for our email list, read a bunch of our content, be in a position where they're ready to buy? I'm not saying that's a bad strategy. Like you can still generate leads that way, but in terms of like bottom funnel direct response stuff, these surround sound keywords are more lucrative for us on the services side. So we made a strategic trade-off not to write about stuff like this and to go after more of these bottom funnel terms.
That's cool. We have a lot who registered our financial services, and a lot of agencies, like marketing agencies. So I think these are great examples. Nice.
There's going to be a lot of competition there, but if you can create unique assets and get listed, ranked, and in these spaces, there's going to be a lot of review sites. So you just got to play that game. I think it could be really fruitful. I've talked to a lot of other content agencies that get tons of leads from that Clutch website, from G2. I know Client Boost is they're a friend, they're PPC. They get tons of leads from G2 and like some of these, best PPC agency type keywords. So it's difficult. There's high competition, but if you can break in, like there's going to be a lot more. The victory is going to be sweeter at that level, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's actually, I've got some keyword search volume here. Is there any particular one you think we should go after? You think this one's probably just the core one?
I think when we're going to surround sound, right, people are looking to compare. So any of those adjectives like best or fastest or easiest, those are the keywords that tend to bring up good possibilities for us.
Totally. Yeah, I think this one's good because it's on their website. It's BIM track, right? Like, so these are like maybe categorical keywords that would describe what they do maybe adjacently, but this is like a very specific one. So I think that's the one we go after. I would also say, just real quick, I don't want to go into the top of funnel and middle funnel too much because I don't know the space, but there's probably like what is. And then the mid funnel, I look at like more as tutorials and how-tos and templates and stuff like that. Once somebody understands like what the general theme is. So if you really wanted to, you could also map this out. And, if you can get on these lists where or not lists, but informational pieces where it's what is BIM software, and maybe the pieces give some examples, and your company is one of those listed, that can also be good. Probably not as direct response. So we won't go after that today. All right, so let's go with this one. Next up, we want to audit the SERPs. And this is the fun part because I get to showcase Semrush's Surround Sound tool.
Yay.
I wish I would have built and sold to y'all. But, I'm just happy it exists.
Next time. Brian has a question. Hey, Brian, how difficult would it be for an agency to start offering these surround sound type of services to their own clients? So we do have a lot of agencies who are on.
How difficult would it be for an agency to offer the surround sound services to clients?
Yeah. So if I'm Boomy here with a 3D animation service, and they come to you and they say, hey, Alex, I want to do surround sound, but I don't want to do it. I want you to do it for me. How would that work?
Yeah. There's a case for it. So we've worked with clients on the surround sound strategy. I guess I probably can't mention names, but we've done it. So I would say that you have to lean on some unique strengths. The strengths of our agency: we're very good at strategy. We're very good at analytics. We're very good at mapping things to like business results. We have a link building program and we have outreach capabilities, but I would say like that's not our core capability. So it depends what you're struggling with, right? Like my probably recommendation would be to, first off, know the keywords that are most strategic to your business. You can get an SEO agency or a content agency to help with some of that stuff if you don't know those things for sure. Although a tool like Semrush goes a long way in just a little bit of research. And then, like, honestly, the Surround Sound tool does a lot of the work in terms of finding the opportunities for you. The hard part about all of this is the execution and the tactical parts of once you know, hey, here's these 4 websites that rank for the keyword that I want to be listed on. How do you convince them to get on the list, right? Like I can tell you, like, my personal website, alexbirkett.com. I read all these affiliate listicles, right? Best SEO software and stuff like that. And I get like 20 pitches a day from vendors and software companies trying to get on those lists. And, maybe one out of 10, one out of 20 is actually interesting. And I'll go into why some of those are interesting, because I think that's the part that most people struggle with. Because you have to answer what's in it for me. Warm introductions help, warm relationships help. And I think that's where maybe like a digital PR, SEO, content agency can provide the biggest bang for the buck. But yeah, no, an agency could help with this stuff. And maybe there's a case to be made for just like the holistic look at this, because there's kind of different components that make up the surround sound strategy. Account management, PR, outreach. You should write some content of your own. Like I said, like my website and Be Omniscient, we rank for a bunch of these things. So that's where a content agency could help. But it's like 6 things together. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, it's great. And I like that you brought up digital PR, right? Because those people tend to have relationships with some of these bigger publishers, right? So they can kind of make it a little bit of a shortcut for you.
I think that's the big thing, right? I've built a little network just through my work through the years. And that was one thing that helped me a lot when I was doing this at HubSpot, is I could reach out to an editor at a blog and say, hey, could I ghostwrite or guest write a blog post on the best CRM software? And, we'll write the whole piece. It'll be formatted in your style. And basically it's free content for you. And we're just going to put HubSpot at number 1. That's our only ask. And I would get on a lot of lists that way. And I knew like some high domain ratings, some high website authority websites. And that really helped us get the ball rolling at first. So yeah, the relationship part is huge. If you have an agency with a lot of those in your specific space, that can help a lot.
Great.
All right, let's pop into the tool.
Yeah.
All right, so the tool, where do we want to start? Let's do a new campaign. It's very intuitive. This is, it takes very little time to learn. So that's awesome. So we'll do BIM software as our campaign name. just a name.
Just a name. Any name.
It's a beautiful micro copy. The SERP depth is basically how many positions you want to track. So this is going to be page 1, page 2, up to page 3. And I usually do the top 20, just because SERP results can change over time, especially on like highly competitive ones. They can be quite dynamic and even personalized. So getting on the top 20, even if it's not like page 1 now, it could be in the future. So I like to do top 20. You've got your locations, so we'll stick with the United States, English, and you can do desktop, mobile. So here you could actually add multiple keywords, and maybe we'll do multiple keywords, huh?
Yeah,
It'd be fun.
Do 3.
Let's do 3 of them. Yeah, I'll do these top 3.
Okay.
Because then we can at least see like maybe where, if they're currently ranking on some of this and currently listed, and what the biggest opportunity areas are. Okay, so brand name. I think you mentioned it was like either 1 word or 2 words.
Yes. Yeah.
So is there a way to both of those, or should I just do?
Yeah. Add another spelling right there.
Oh, wow.
This is really important because what this is going to do is going to go look at websites that are ranking for your keywords. It's going to look for that text, right? With that link, hopefully.
Yeah. And this is just the text and the brand name, and this is the link.
Yeah. Yep. So it has to be exactly what you'll be looking for.
Cool. So we'll add the link in here, the brand domain, basically.
Yeah.
And we'll add some competitors too. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to add competitors, just because I think in isolation, just getting on all of these search results is going to be completely adequate for your business results from the surround sound strategy. One thing that I thought was really nice about adding competitors, though, is it's wonderful for communicating to stakeholders and getting buy-in for the strategy.
Yes.
If you go, hey, HubSpot executive, this keyword, marketing automation software, Marketo is visible in 80% of the results, and we're at 60 or we're at 40. Then you can easily say, oh, damn, like we have to beat Marketo. So it triggers a little bit of that competitive impulse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's add a couple of competitors.
Yeah. Amadi wants to know, how long does it take to see measurable results? He's ready to go. He's going to do this. When can he see results?
It depends what you mean by results, because there's both a brand awareness component, which is less easy to measure, and especially for complex sales, like I mentioned before, the content agency one. There's not going to be many leads that come in, but I'm going to hear about a couple of them over time, and it might take a couple of weeks before that person, does enough research to reach out. So on a brand awareness play and a highly complex sale, it's going to take a little longer.
But if you're a month or 6 months.
I think it was probably like 2 to 4 weeks for us when we started writing those, the best B2B content agencies and all that. I hate this answer. It depends. Like it's such a cop-out answer.
Marketing questions, yes.
But let me tell you about HubSpot. HubSpot's got one of the highest website authorities in this space and in general on the internet. Like they're just a powerhouse, right? So as soon as we would write a listicle, it would pretty much rank that week or like the next week. And we could basically see direct response conversions from that listicle. If we added CTAs, if we added links, we could see those within a week or two.
Yeah.
Tons of factors there. High website authority, content team that could turn things around quickly, heavy CTA placements. We weren't afraid to do that. And then freemium. So basically somebody could sign up for free and it was very low friction. So it wasn't something where they had to jump on a demo or like pay a whole lot of money. And it wasn't like buying a car. It was like getting an email marketing tool or a form builder. So there was several things that worked in our advantage there. So you'll start to see results, especially if you can rank on your own website. But then when it comes to getting listed on others, it should be similar. It's just going to be a little harder to parse out in the data because you've got to look at referral traffic. And if you're, dealing with affiliate websites, how they track their affiliate kind of referrals. So I would say pretty quickly once you get listed on the top page of a high intent, high traffic keyword.
Okay. And you're going to tell us how to do that, even if we're not HubSpot.
I'm going to try. Yeah. There's no single answer. That's the cop out, but I'll show you how I do it in terms of like how I rate the outreach and all that stuff.
Great.
All right. I'm just going to add one competitor. Okay. I'm just going to add Autodesk. But you could add several. We have a couple more here, but I'll just add Autodesk and I'll do a separate spelling for this. Is this their product?
Yes. Yep. It's their bin product for Autodesk.
So that could be like with HubSpot's case where it's like HubSpot or HubSpot CRM or something, like they have maybe a separate product name.
What do you think about this? Bookteller in Nigeria wants to know, can this work with local SEO?
I suppose it could. I mean, I don't know why it would be much different. I think local SEO has got a whole different playbook, though. I think because you've got like Google local listings, and to be totally frank, like I don't do a lot of local SEO. I used to when I was at a company called Lawn Starter, but it's been quite a long time, so I don't want to speak as like the expert in that area.
Yeah, I think you'll find more opportunities for non-local business, but I think you could still give it a try, and I would recommend just hop in there and give it a try today.
Yeah, let me see actually. So if you search something like this is clearly a local thing. The thing you want to be here, like that's probably and like your advertising, it takes up the entire first viewport, and this is the entire next one. So those are going to be way more important than getting on a lot of these. And then you actually have a lot of product pages and websites here, and getting on Yelp, which is a whole different strategy. So it's a little different. Like it's going to be a lot harder, obviously here.
Oh, there's one though. Top 10 best lawn care services in Austin. That's
but I think that's Angie's list too.
It is Angie. Yeah, I didn't see that. You're right.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of review sites and aggregators usually.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so here what's that?
What are we looking at here?
This is the dashboard. This is the high level dashboard for BIM track, and we can see that there's 2 mentions. Y'all have great like info microcopy too. So there's some terms that are a little maybe like new or foreign. Coverage is, it shows which part of the search results is taken by pages mentioning the brand or pages that belong to BIM track. And then visibility is going to be which part of the search results is taken by pages mentioning the brand. So this takes into account like pages that rank higher or have more visibility. So this is a little bit more of a qualified metric.
Yeah.
And then this is just going to take the search volume and the placements and estimate the traffic that you could be getting from these.
Well, that gets more interesting over time, because right now we just have that one point, but each week those numbers will update, so you'll be able to see your progress in the dashboard.
Yeah, and that's amazing. The time series is one of the most important parts of this, because you just want to be improving day over day, week over week.
Right.
Yeah. So Autodesk is highly visible. Obviously, they're a huge brand name, so that makes sense. But what we really want to do here is like look at the pages report. You could do this on a keyword basis actually, but we'll just do all of the pages.
Okay.
And we can group by pages instead of just domains. This is going to show us all of the pages that rank for these keywords. So we've got Tech Radar, which I believe is a aggregator. This looks like a editorial site. So there's some editorials.
Yeah, okay. Best, yeah.
And that's what we want. So like there's Guru 99 that looks like an editorial as well. If there's a bunch of review sites, like that's going to be its own unique strategy, and you may have to pay to play or get a bunch of customer reviews. But if there's editorial or affiliate sites, that's where you usually have a little bit more malleability in terms of getting on their radar and convincing them to get on their list. So export to CSV, you just want to pull this to a place where it's a little bit cleaner to work with, and you can kind of mark it to see if it's a actually valid opportunity. So I'll just pull this actually over to a Google Sheet. And all right, so we don't have tons and tons of time to go through these manually, which is what I would usually do.
Okay.
But I just want to see if there are viable opportunities that I could feasibly get listed on. And this one looks like it is. This, I would bet this is an affiliate site. And you can usually tell because the URL below, it's got this weird link structure that will probably convert to their website link with the tracking. Yeah. So this would be an affiliate play. And in this case, like if you don't have an affiliate program, you're probably out of the running. You can also pay for a placement. You can say like, hey, what's the flat fee to be listed at number 1, number 2, number 3? A lot of these websites will take those.
Okay. I
know people have offered me that before, and it's actually pretty cool because then you don't have to like worry about converting. You're more like a billboard. So it's really like a sponsored placement. But yeah, I would go through these individually and figure out, all right, so is this a valid opportunity? And a lot of these look like affiliate websites. This is another one. Yeah, and you can see that same link basically. And I can't even pronounce that. It's a lot of consonants. All right, let's do Guru 99 because I think this is not affiliate. No, this is affiliate. All right, I'm just going to use this as an example because in our next step, let's pretend I went through all those, got all the opportunities, figured out which ones are viable. The next thing is to identify opportunities. And in almost all of these search terms, there's going to be 3 types of pages, which I kind of alluded to already. There's going to be product pages, which if they're competitors, you're not going to get mentioned on. Autodesk is not going to mention you on their page. Marketo is not going to mention HubSpot on their page, right? So just like nix those. Listicles and review sites. A review site has, again, its own strategy. Either it's CPC, basically like Capterra is going to charge you a rate based on like their kind of like paid data to appear at number one. Yelp also does the same. Or it's going to be like generating a bunch of reviews, and that's a customer marketing initiative. Listicles are our sweet spot for this thing. So listicles are going to be in a couple formats. I mentioned this here. So separate strategy, drive reviews, pay to play. Editorial listicles are going to be other companies. So maybe if you're HubSpot, maybe a company like Wishpond, they're somewhat of a competitor. They might write a listicle called Best Marketing Automation Software, and you can kind of barter with them. You're going to beg, cajole, persuade, figure out what they want, figure out if there's something you can trade them. A good example would be with our podcast, right? So another listicle of best content marketing podcasts was from Siege Media. And Siege Media is another content marketing agency. So technically they're kind of competition, but I'm friends with Ross. So we just kind of bartered. And he's like, hey, if you'll put me on the best content courses list, we'll put you on the best content podcast lists. So we had some asset that they cared about. We had a what's in it for me, because they're not just going to do it out of charity, right? Unless they're like a good friend, maybe that works. But you need to have something like an asset. Oftentimes, I'll give people a guest spot on the podcast if I find them interesting as like a leader. I won't do that for like somebody I'm not interested in talking to, but I'll give podcast spots or something like that. And then you have affiliate listicles, which is always pay to play. And that's either you have an affiliate program, and that's got to be pretty good. Like you have to have like a better chance of making them more money than the other programs. So that can be a race to the bottom sometimes, or you can be basically like a billboard pay to play placement. And then you have new content. So this is my favorite, is basically like you should definitely write new content for your website. You own the ranking, you basically own all the data, but also you can write guest posts for other sites, hopefully with like top, website authority, so they can usurp some of the other positions. And then you own that too. It's your voice. You can put yourself at number one. And basically it's your own listicle. It's just on somebody else's website. So that's one of my favorite plays too.
Nice.
So then let's say like you're going to find contact info. Let's do one for a listicle that already exists, like this one, Guru 99. This might be hard. Let's see how this goes. I don't know if this is going to be a freelance writer or not.
This is the fun of life.
Oh, why'd you link to the company one here? All right. So let's just say I'm just going to look up Guru 99 marketing. We're going to try to find like a marketer there. This is going to take too long to find the actual right person, but let's say this is the right person. Yeah. Okay. So then you've got a variety of tools. One of my favorite is Contact Out. It's very expensive, so I don't have it anymore, but you can just say show and it'll give you their email, and it's really, really accurate. This is used for like HR professionals use this, and it actually gets their Gmails and stuff like that. So this is best tool. Like it's amazing. But otherwise you can use something like hunter.io. There's tons and tons of tools like this nowadays. You can search guru99.com, and they'll typically give you a formula. Oh, they don't have any Guru 99s. Oh, that's annoying. Well, they'll give you formulas sometimes, like first name or first dot last name. And then you can actually type in that person, but Guru 99 is not showing up. So maybe we do Tech Radar.
Yeah, Tech Radar is here. Stuart Forrest. He says he works on those sites. They're not sites you can pay a flat fee to appear on. So just being clear about, some are affiliate sites, and like they'll kind of decide, and that's kind of their what's in it for me, right?
Yeah. There are very strict people like you as well. Like when I was at HubSpot, Zapier, oddly enough, Zapier's got tons and tons of these listicles, and cynical marketer me, I'm like, all right, there's definitely a way I can get on these. Like it's not purely like editorial driven, is it? So I got coffee, I got lunch with the team. Like I would like be like, hey, can we like pay for this? Like we'll put you on a listicle on our site. Like I had all these different strategies, and at the end of the day, it's like, it's actually our editorial team's choice what goes on the list. There's actually no way you can break in.
Good to know.
So sometimes there's high integrity editors. I
had a talk with a co-founder of Pitchbox this week. they have a really great tool where you can actually export your surround sound CSV file with all those opportunities, drop it into Pitchbox, and it will find the people for you.
No way.
Oh,
that's cool. Look, I'm learning something on this call.
Try it out. You can get a 3-week guided demo. They'll walk you through how to do it at that bit.ly Semrush-Pitchbox.
There you go. That's awesome. All right, cool. So I find the contact information, and then I basically write an email address to them, or an email to them, and I get to the point, and I give obvious value, and I play the long game. I've got templates here. If I were to write one for Deval, let me just, I'm just going to make a new slide here. I don't want to bring up my email. This is the hardest part, by the way, for everybody that I've talked to, is like the outreach, but I actually think it's fairly straightforward. Again, most people don't get to the point. Most people actually think they're giving value, but it's really just like, hey, what can you do for me? And most people are very like transactional, but I'm trying to play the long game and make a relationship out of this. So, and then just link to it. And then I would think about the value adds. I don't know what BIMTrack's value adds are. Like if they've got a blog, I guess this is it's a affiliate or like editorial site. So they probably are not interested in being listed. If it's a competitor or like somebody, not a direct competitor, but if it's somebody adjacent to your industry, you can sometimes promise them to be on another list of yours. Let's say they've got a podcast.
What about if it's strictly editorial? Would they be interested, say, if you sent, like, this doesn't work for software necessarily, but let's say you're like HelloFresh meal kit or something. If you said, hey, we'd like to be on your list, can I send you 8 free meals? Like, can you also offer that kind of?
Yeah, I think that probably works. I will say, like, a lot of the people who email me with software, like, I'm not actually super interested in trying out a new piece of software every day. If I'm a food blogger, I think I would actually love some free food. I don't know. I mean, it's really the what's in it for me. And that's where it takes a little bit of industry knowledge and research on the people that you're reaching out to. I would say for something like this, it would be like just knowing they have an affiliate program. I'd say, have an affiliate program that pays 3% recurring. Can't type.
Sounds great.
And then happy to write the blurb for you. And then I would probably open it up, right? Those are 2 very clear value adds, but I'm kind of hypothesizing. And if they're not interested in those, then I'm shut down. So then I open it up, or open to any ideas you have to make it a win-win. Cheers, Alex, because cheers sounds so much friendlier than thanks and best.
It does. Yeah. Less assuming as well. I like that.
But this is simple. Like when I get these 10 paragraph emails, I never read them. So just like keep it simple, to the point. Say what you want. Don't try to beat around the bush and say you're a huge fan of their content or something like that. Everybody knows you're not. You stumbled on this because you want to get on it. It's just be honest, and appeal to self-interest. That's kind of, and this is more of the long game thing, is like I'm not I'm open basically to learning what they want, and that's how I do the outreach email. And then it's different. Like if you know the person, and let's say you're trying to write a guest post, got a weird proposal for you.
As you're watching this happen real time, you can grab Alex's templates right here, bit.ly outreach-with-Alex. And in the background, we have Dash over here choosing our winner of a free year of Surround Sound SEO software from Semrush. If you, I'm going to give the name in just a minute. Just type in the chat if you're here. All right, so what have we got going on here? Okay.
This is assuming I kind of know the person. They're an editor at a friend's blog or something like that. We're basically just going to throw out a crazy proposal. How about we write this free guest post for y'all? I even sometimes say, we'll drive backlinks because we've got a, guest writing program, and we can kind of add links and stuff like that and help them rank, which also helps us. If I partner with, CoSchedule and they write a piece on the best content marketing agencies, like it actually might be more beneficial for me to drive links to their website than mine, because it's like they're like a trusted advisor, whereas like I'm biased when I'm saying that my agency is the best. So if I could actually get them to rank higher than me, that might not be a bad strategy. True. So I'm just giving them value. I'm making it clear that it's like, hey, here's what I want. It's free traffic, it's free content for y'all. Are you into it? And if the person knows you, it's a pretty good chance they will be.
Everyone wants good content.
Yeah. So the outreach part is hard. I got templates for y'all. Hopefully that helps. That is the one thing that I think people struggle with. So I'm happy to answer other, follow-up questions on that and get the templates. They're pretty good. But you can definitely like tweet me or email me if you want email outreach tips.
Okay. How do you reach out to somebody like a big publisher if you're not a big player?
You just do it. I don't know. I don't overthink it. I would say, like there's some that like Zapier, I told you, like at HubSpot, like I really tried to like get on the radar, and like I would do lunches and coffees, and we really wanted their placements because they had so many listicles that ranked for keywords that we cared about. Like they had probably 10, 12. And they were like a big whale in terms of like, if you're thinking like a sales prospect, it's like, that would have been the big one to land. So I was very, very much more strategic, and I acted like an account executive or an account manager on that one. But for me, it's really like it's really like a serendipitous play. I don't really lose anything by emailing somebody. I lose maybe 5 minutes of my day, and the upside is very high for me. So I don't really overthink it.
Okay, very good. We do have a winner, David Waiter. David Waiter, are you here? Are you here? Just pop up in the comments and we will find you.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to have too much time for this part. This is more so like the creating content, but I can maybe just talk about like what's important here. And these are fairly straightforward SEO content writing tips, but have a content brief. I've got a template here. I use ClearScope and Surfer, and I actually pitch that when I'm doing the guest post. I'm like, I'm going to use ClearScope, and it's going to be like an A+ score and more likely to rank that way. Then you have to have good content and backlinks.
Okay.
So I was planning on maybe writing a small segment of the piece to try to show you how that works, but I can maybe just show you in Surfer because I've got a couple listicles already loaded up that I've written. These are content optimization software tools. So basically, they kind of reverse engineer the SERP pages and give you recommendations as to how to rank for them. Okay. So let's say HubSpot alternatives. This is one that it's already published on my blog. You've got the whole piece here. You can add images. Let's say that, this is actually a really good surround sound keyword, and it gives you a content score to aim for. 100 is the best, and I always try to get above an 80. And then it gives you tips on what keywords to include. So that's just a maybe small tip on SEO content writing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We have a couple questions coming in here, and we have not heard from our winner, so we're going to pick another one. Kate Blake. Kate Blake, are you here? Let us know. We'll get in touch. Okay, Christine works in EdTech, and she's wondering if you could share some insights on how video podcasts can be best integrated into the surround sound SEO strategy. I'm not sure if that means like your own podcasts, getting that.
I'll take that two different directions. Okay. So video and podcasts are oftentimes a point of consideration for an audience. So I gave the example before of Tim Ferriss, and actually Westworld is a good example of this. But if you're launching something in more of a consumer fashion, listicles could be a good idea. I know there's the best delivery service or food delivery service ones. So search still works for those. But oftentimes if I'm looking for book recommendations, I don't search for them. I either post on Twitter. Then that's actually, you could do some social listening and get friends of yours to recommend when those things happen. Or on a podcast, if you're launching a book or something that's more consumer based, like you do customer research and figure out what podcasts, what videos, what YouTube channels your audience listens to and consumes. And then you try to, within the span of like 2 to 6 weeks, appear on all of those places. That creates a surround sound effect in more of a media sense. In maybe this is the direction you were going with this, but we have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel, and we use it like an asset, a leverageable asset for ourselves. I won't compromise on the quality of the podcast. That's something I'm very purist about. Like, I want it to be awesome. Yeah. But if somebody at a company is interesting to me and I think they would be a good guest on the podcast, it's a really good value add to say like, hey, like, I'd love to have you jump on the podcast. It creates good content for me. Like it's, you know, I have to get guests for the show anyway. And it's something novel. So when I'm reaching out, I'm not just saying like, hey, can I have this placement on your listicle? It's like, in addition to that, like, we'd love to get you on our platforms and give you some exposure and give you some like marketing reach as well. So that's kind of how we use them.
Okay. There's a great thought from Clover Creative. We get approached about guest posts quite a bit and have ignored them. Should we be replying and asking them to make it a win-win instead?
I do that often, actually. I try to like reverse the sales pitch in their direction to try to get something out of it. If it's a decent pitch. I will say, like, there's so much garbage in terms of guest post pitches nowadays that I ignore probably 80+% of it, because it's just pure, like, it's link spam. Like, and you know that it's just going to be this like 600 word blog post. It's written with an AI copywriting tool and barely passes a plagiarism score. So right. don't waste your time with all that stuff. But if it's from a legit company, if it's from like somebody at HubSpot, they want a link for sure. Everybody who's writing a guest post wants a link or payment or something. Nobody's doing it for free. But if the content's good and you have a good reason to believe it's going to be, then yeah, I mean, it can be great leverage, like to ask for something in return, or, you know, start a relationship, or, you know, do some co-marketing. Like, it can be a really good way to learn how each company works with each other.
Awesome. Carolyn Kenton, our next winner. Wesley, he's loving the value here. Thank you, Alex. I would love to learn more about niche B2B strategies for current customers, not necessarily for my agency. I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think try it. So go try it at bit.ly use-surround-sound, or go to Semrush and it's in the extra tools menu. Pop them in there and see what you get for opportunities. That'll help you see if it's a viable option for you.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you could do some initial research. The tool is great for that. Also, just doing this stuff, the surround sound, you don't even have to execute it fully at the level that HubSpot did and all that. I think what it's good at is getting you thinking about like ROI generation for content and SEO programs. It gets you thinking about the bottom funnel. It gets you thinking about your positioning, how you talk about your products in relation to competitors, what value adds you actually have when you're working on, you know, co-marketing relationships. Because often people start this and, you know, they don't have any of that in place, and that's a problem for other reasons. So I think it really just gets you thinking in the right place when it comes to content.
Okay, very good. Well, David is here. David, you are the winner. We have your email address, so we will contact you. I think we got most of the questions here. If I missed your question, I do apologize. You can. I'll go through the comments and make sure we catch them all. But just to wrap up, any final last words, Alex?
Yeah, I have like a couple last words. So It's not for everyone. That's where you know, pop into the tool, see if there's search volume. There needs to be some search demand, or it needs to be a rising trend. Like I said before, you got to have leverageable assets of your own. You can't just beg people to get on your on their lists. It's a long game. A lot of it is just slogging away and trying to figure out what people want and trying to form those partnerships. The product has to be genuinely good. And then the most important thing, if you learn anything and take anything away from this presentation, is that you should watch Westworld. It's fantastic. Season 4 is out now. It took me like 10 people told me to watch it, and I finally did. And I was like, yeah, the storytelling, the acting, the soundtrack, it's all amazing. So
okay, if you take nothing else away,
watch Westworld.
Watch Westworld. But please try Surround Sound. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate you. And thank you to Alex for everything you've shared. And go try Surround Sound. And have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.